Welcome to Doors to Hope and Healing, an inside look at the many facets of work that is happening at the Department of Children and Families, between our staff, the families we serve, and our community partners. My name is Jaqueline Ford. I have had the honor of working for the department for almost 30 years. And although I may be familiar with many of the topics we bring to you, I have invited experts in those fields to help us dispel the myths and misconceptions that can often be barriers to our work. Join us as we open our doors and invite you to have a seat at our table. Hillary, thank you so much for being on the set of Doors to Hope and Healing. It's a pleasure to have you here.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So today we're going to be talking about being a foster parent and being an adoptive parent, and about your motivation and really how that journey has touched your life and your family's life. Wonderful. And my hope is that our viewers, and we reach many different viewers, whether it's through watching the television or our YouTube channel or social media, yes, to reach our viewers and share what it's like to be a foster parent. Perfect. And why more people should be stepping forward to be a resource for a Connecticut child.
Absolutely. Wonderful. Yeah.
So let's start. Let's talk about background and your motivation. What inspired you and your husband to become foster and then an adoptive parent?
Yes. So I met my husband in 2010, and in 2011 we blended our families. Mm-hmm. So between the two of us, we had 5 children. And I grew up as a 3rd-generation foster parent, and my husband was adopted. Oh, okay. And as we were blending our families, we just felt like something was missing. And we were at the age where we didn't want to go through pregnancy and have another child, but both of us felt so strongly about the need to advocate for children, especially those who are in need. And together we decided this is a perfect avenue to not only teach our children what it means to work with those in need, but also to be a part of our community and to help where we feel that is, our chosen path.
That's wonderful. And you mentioned that when you were growing up, that your parents were foster parents. What was that like for your family?
Oh my gosh, it was amazing. Actually, one of the oldest memories I have, and the best memory I have, is whenever we would receive a new foster child in our home, my mom would let me skip school. I'm not advocating that as a teacher, but she'd let me skip school to help prepare for the child to come in. And I was the only girl in the family, and I had 2 brothers. But to be able to pull out the different clothes and the toys and get the crib ready or get the bedroom ready, and it's one of my best memories of not only bonding with my mom, but also the anticipation of having another sibling come into our home. And the thing that I love most about it is I was able to have sisters when I didn't have a biological sister. I was allowed to be the older sibling or another younger sibling. So it really helped me in a role. And just to see these children and to see how much they grew under the care of my amazing parents was phenomenal. Wow. And my grandparents too.
And your grandparents were foster parents as well?
So they were guardians to children who lost their parents, and they really inspired my parents to do the same. And so that's how we got involved.
Wow. And by taking off that day from school, it was made it a big celebration. It was a big deal to be welcoming a child into your home.
Yes, and I think it's so important too for foster families or adoptive families is to include all the members of the family. So often as parents, you take on all the responsibility, but when you can get the siblings and the children excited and as part of the process, I think that really helps with the transition into their home.
And having foster children in the home, it's also, it changes their lives too. It's a sacrifice that they're making, and and also it's enriching their lives as well. So I agree that it's a family decision. Whenever it can be, if the children are old enough to be a part of that decision.
Absolutely. And when we proposed it to our children, they were just like, yes, 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 and yes. Bring them on. Bring more. We want all of them.
And how old were your children at the time?
So at our time, I believe the youngest was 7 and the oldest was early teens. And so we were very specific when we started to foster to make sure that we were bringing in the appropriate child for our home and our family's needs, meaning that we didn't feel feel that having other teens in the house would be appropriate at the time. We didn't want anyone to feel displaced in their rooms or uncomfortable having the opposite sex child in our care. So we focused on the younger children. And for my husband and I, it is amazing to see growing up here in Connecticut and on the shoreline, our children didn't really, want for anything. We are very blessed to have a roof over our heads and food on the table and a community of support. And so it was important for us to see our children grow too and realize that not every family is like this. And not every family has a car and an iPhone and everything they want. And so our children were blessed most with this experience, and to realize how important it is to take care of one another and to realize that things are just not given, and there is an opportunity to also help other people who are in need.
And share your resources.
And share those resources. And you know what? Every single one of our kids wants to be a foster parent when they're older and have a family. And even our neighbors and the friends who would come over, we'd have traditions when we would have a new child come into care. Our daughter's girlfriends would all come over, and they knew every single child, and they played with them, and they were a part of the community of being responsible for helping the children in need. And so every one of them wants to spread the joy and become foster parents as well. So we felt like we really set a stage for the future of the department, and a bunch of different avenues to explore with future foster families.
Yeah, well, you did a great job in nurturing that with your own kids.
Thank you.
Let's talk about your husband. So you mentioned that your husband was adopted. Do you feel, I know that he couldn't join us today and that you're going to be speaking on his behalf, but do you feel that his story of being an adopted child has influenced his, decision-making and being licensed?
100%. When I spoke to him about being adopted, and he was so blessed. He was adopted as an infant through Catholic services. And his sister as well was adopted, and then his mom had two biological children of her own. And to him, he was given a chance of this incredible life, and from two parents who cared for him and loved him. And for him, it's just simply, I want to give someone else that opportunity. I want to give back the chance that I was given. And so it was just a no-brainer for him.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah. That's wonderful. So family dynamics.
Yes.
So my next question was, but you talked about it. How did your children from your previous marriage adapt to the idea of fostering? When you brought that idea to them, they obviously knew that you had grown up with foster children.
Yes.
Did you talk about that? Do you feel like that memory that you shared with them influenced their excitement about opening their home? Was
Absolutely.
there hesitance in that?
Unfortunately, especially with younger children, they don't hear the great stories that come out of being a foster and an adoptive family. They only hear the things on the news, the sad stories or the misrepresentation of what it means to be a foster family, or the things that have gone wrong. And so they were hesitant in the sense of, what does that mean for us? And is it going to take away, mom and dad from the ability to focus on each of the individual children? But quickly they realized that the more the merrier. We made it very clear in the beginning when we blended our family, and we had what we call a family honeymoon. We went to Turks and Caicos and we celebrated our wedding there with our children. And we decided at that point, we're not step anything. You are my brother, you are my sister. And that mentality has continued when we have foster children in our home. They aren't, this is just our foster, or this is my adopted brother. We don't use labels like that. When you're part of our family, you are a member, you are loved, you are respected, and you are treated as one of our own.
What are the ages of the children, your children and your husband's children, when you blended?
Oh my goodness. So I'm trying to think back when we blended, but it was, right now, I'm going to tell you the ages right now because the math. So right now we have a 30-year-old, a 27-year-old, a 26, 25, and 23-year-old.
Wow.
Yes, it's amazing. And then a 9-year-old that we have adopted.
Yes.
So, and we joke that he's the glue. He is the glue that continues to bond our family together.
What has been your, most profound memory or experience in blending your families and then in including this new adopted child into your family?
It's the everyday things. When I look at pictures or posts that we make on social media, every single one of our children, there's pictures of us just staring at him and looking at him or being a part of his life. And the incredible relationship that this young boy has with each one of his siblings is amazing. One of them loves to play video games with him, and another loves to go fishing, and our daughter loves to cook with him, and one loves to have dance parties and Pokemon cards. They each have a unique bond that makes that relationship amazing. And, I was worried because they're older, obviously, than he is, and would he feel like he has 8 parents? But he is truly their sibling, and they care for him, and they love him, and they include him in all that they experience. So it's incredible to see. So there's not just one profound experience. It's the daily impact, the daily relationship that each of our children have with their adopted brother is magical. It's very magical.
That's so wonderful. It's a win-win for him.
It is.
Yeah, and they have the best role as siblings that they don't have to take that parent role.
Yes,
they
exactly.
They can have that,
Oh, they have sibling meetings without us, and we can't break that bond, and whatever happens in here, we don't tell the parents, and so it is darling. But to be honest with you, so often people say, "Oh, you foster, that's so great." But the blessing has been on us. We are the ones who just tenfold have received so much from the experience. And it's, of course, the focus is on the child that you're fostering, but it's just unbelievable how it has impacted our life for the positive. And we are the ones who feel like we are the ones who are blessed. Absolutely. 100%.
So I know that, with every life change, there's always some obstacles or complications. Were there any issues that you feel that you experienced as a blended family, either blending, your children with your husband's and then introducing how old was your son when you adopted him?
So he came to us at 4 months, and it's actually a beautiful story. When I was pregnant with my youngest son, I went to my father and asked him, what boy names do you like? What boy names do you like? And he would rattle off, and he said, my favorite name is Hunter. I love the name Hunter. And I said, okay, well, I'm going to name him Liam. So I named Liam, and then 3 months, my father unfortunately passed away from early onset Alzheimer's. And 3 months later, we received a call from DCF saying we have a placement of a little boy who's 4 months old. And at the time he came to us, his name was Hunter. And so I just felt it was a blessing from above. And not only that, my husband has red hair and blue eyes, which is 1% of the world has red hair and blue eyes. And this little baby had red hair and blue eyes. Wow. So it just felt like it was a divine intervention. It was meant to be. And he's always felt like he's been a part of our family. It was definitely something that was obviously just divine,
almost something you can't even explain. There's no coincidences, and and that child was meant for you to raise.
It was.
Stepping back a little bit about your experience when you came to DCF to be a foster parent, did you attend an open house? What were those preliminary steps that you took to become licensed?
Yes, so we made a call into DCF, and they provided us with somebody who came out to the home and explained the process, explained the licensing and all that was involved. And we had a lot of paperwork, a lot of investigation to your background. And then we took the courses. And at the time, those courses were at the Middletown office. And we got to meet other parents who were being licensed. And we got to learn all about what it takes. One of my favorite things that DCF offers is the Foster College. And those are courses online. And it's just been such a game changer because anytime, all kids are unique and not every single foster child comes with the same need. And so to be able to use that as a resource and to be able to go on to Foster College and specifically type the things that you need to learn, whether it's emotional abuse or substance abuse or ADHD, autism. So there's so many incredible resources available to foster families. And we took advantage of that. And also having just open communication, not only with the support staff, but building your own team and working closely with your different foster care providers has been really helpful too.
And you have Lori as your
We
support
do.
worker.
Oh, she's the best.
And what's that relationship like?
She's amazing, and it's a very open and honest relationship. And she checks in with us constantly. And if there's a concern, the first call I make is to Lori, and I feel confident and comfortable expressing some of the concerns we may have, whether it's with the communication, whether it's with the visits or the care or the plan. She's always willing to answer any of our questions, and I think that's where we've evolved the most as foster parents. In the beginning, you don't want to do anything wrong, and you want to make sure that you're not bothering anybody. But as we continue to have foster children come into our homes, we felt that it's so important to have that open and honest communication and to ask. And your job is to be an advocate for that child in your house. And sometimes that advocacy means fighting for things that aren't given to you, whether it's at school, whether it's medically, whether it's therapeutic. So we have become strong in our beliefs and strong in our willingness to reach out and try our best to advocate for everything that child needs.
And that's what that child needs, is to have somebody who's advocating for them to take on that role.
It's so true.
So you're a public school educator. So tell me about what your job is.
Oh my goodness. So I am so blessed to be a teacher in New Haven. I'm a second grade teacher in an urban district, and I work in a very multicultural school. I think there's over 60 different languages between the two buildings of our schools. And there's a lot of need. And I think being a teacher absolutely makes me a better foster parent, and for the families as well. Because, if you look at me and I'm in an urban district, I'm a white woman who lives in the suburbs, and to gain that trust with families, especially my school families, and to know that I care deeply for every child who is in my classroom, and I will do anything necessary to make their experience count and set them on a path and a trajectory towards reaching their goals. And I think that has opened parents' eyes and just not seeing from the outside of what I look like, but for the inside into my heart.
And bridging those gaps.
And bridging those gaps and those cultural gaps, and really learning from them on how best to care for different cultures and different communities and different traditions, and reaching out to them and saying, hey, I need help with this. What can I do to support this child? And what culturally can I do to support this child? What kind of religion, and what do I want? What should I do to help this child continue their spiritual growth? So it's been incredible to have that community. I love being a teacher, and I love being a foster parent, and I think the two very much go hand in hand. And when I was a foster parent, I felt like, oh, this is great. I'll see the kids after school or when I'm home late at night. But the real work is often done in the classroom and molding and guiding children. And so to be able to have full circle opportunities with these kids is just phenomenal.
And how do you feel that your role as a school teacher helped with Hunter and his ADHD needs?
Oh, it helps so much, especially understanding the need for early intervention, working with birth to 3 and advocating for all the different services that are available. And there are so many services available to foster families that we often don't consider or don't take advantage of. The different opportunities for volunteering to help the child by supporting them in donating clothes and toys. And I had a friend who owned a dance studio, and she offered dance lessons or swim lessons. So the community really wants to help in any way they can. And so to be able to reach out to different members in the community, and especially as a teacher, to know the role and to who to call and to support those resources has been really wonderful.
And as an educator, I'm sure you also see the need for our kids in their home environments to be as healthy emotionally and stable with their families to be able to learn effectively in the classroom. You're seeing it from two different perspectives. The educator and the foster parent.
Yes,
I'm sure you saw that.
Very much so. And one of the things that I'm so fortunate at my school, the first 20 minutes of our day at school is a time we call soft start. It's a soft start to your day. And as a teacher, it is so wonderful to be able to, it's all peer play. So kids come in, they unpack, and they get to play for 30 minutes with the other children. They have to communicate, collaborate, and cooperate together. They get to do crafts, they get to play games and cards and anything that they want to do. But as a educator, those first 20 minutes give me such insight as to the night that a child has. Whether they come in hungry, do you need more food? Whether they come in tired, did you sleep? Where did you sleep? Were you able to be at home last night? Were you at a different house? So having that opportunity to have that one-on-one time with a child and pull them aside and say, oh, they're not just crabby. Something's going on. There's always a reason for their actions. And to be able to see that and to say, okay, this is going to set the tone for our day. Let's see what we can do to make it a better day for this child.
And is that something the whole district does with that 20 minutes of time, or is that something that you...
So that's something that our school does, and I think it should be in every district, just so that most teachers are able to get that viewpoint. It's definitely necessary in the urban districts where that some of the students come from broken families or are living in shelters or are taking the bus to school. So I think that the opportunity to see the kids in the morning and to be able to talk to them really helps gauge me as an educator on the direction of which I need to go for the day, social, emotionally for the children as well as educationally.
Yeah, the social emotional health of our kids is so important, that's a brilliant way to begin the day. I think that's every school district should do that.
Yeah, I'm so grateful our principal was able to set that, and it's the kids' favorite time of the day too. Anytime you ask them, what's the best part of your day? They'll say soft start. They don't know the teachers are looking at them and investigating and trying to figure out. But what they do know is they get to come in and they get to play with their friends. And to them, that's a priceless time.
Sure, and they don't have to jump right into that
structure. Right, to work,
exactly.
Especially if you're hungry, especially if you're tired, or, you don't know where you're going to be after school or where you're going to be picked up. It's time for conversations to occur so that I can reach out to our social worker. I can reach out to special ed or behaviorists and say, something's going on, we need to further investigate. I mean, we're mandated reporters, and it is a wonderful bonding time with our students.
I think we all should do a soft start every day.
I know. My soft start would be coffee at Starbucks.
I think we all deserve that.
I agree.
But I love that model, and I think that benefits, especially the kids that are coming from difficult nights, difficult time at home. If one of our viewers was considering being a foster or adoptive parent, what advice would you give them?
Oh my goodness. I think it comes from the heart. Your intentions need to be pure in the reasons why. And I say this because my fear is that many people who are unable to have their own children want to go into foster to possibly have a child join their family. And oftentimes that does work out. But to me, I think our role as foster parents is to make sure that with our families, that we are purely there to guide, protect, and advocate for their child while in our care. And in our family, we joke we have his, mine, ours, and theirs. And as a parent whose child was taken from them, there is nothing more concerning to them to know, where is my child? What are they doing? Is this person trying to take my child? And that is not the case in so many situations. To be an advocate, not only for the child, but for the family, and to know that you're just rooting for them and you want them to get the help so that they can be reunified is such an important tone to set. So it's something that parents who are looking to get involved with DCF need to understand. And the second thing that I think is important to know is there's no such thing as a perfect child. And even when you get a foster child as a baby and they remain with you, these children have experienced trauma. They have generational of, different needs emotionally. And so as a foster adoptive parent, that trauma is going to rear its head at some point in their life. To expect it, to be prepared for it, and to know that you have access to resources. You have access to support groups to help you in any situation you need. But these children have gone through a lot, whether it's in vitro or whether it's biologically, and you need to be prepared for that.
And I think it's important that you make the statement as we're ending our show shortly is, there oftentimes it's a misperception of, if I give the love and the child has all of their needs met, then the trauma is going to go away. Right. And I think it's important for our viewers to know that there are the resources and there are the supports that are available to help guide this child. And our goal is always reunification back to the birth family whenever it's safely possible to do that in the child's best interest. So I'm glad that you make that point. But before I close our segment today, on behalf of DCF, I want to congratulate you on the award that you won with your school district. I read the article in the newspaper, and it was called the Life-Changing Teacher Award.
Yes.
As we close our show today, can you share a little bit about that award and what that meant to you?
Oh my goodness. Well, it was such a surprise. First of all, I think every teacher deserves the Life-Changing Award because it is a thankless job. And I can say this because I was in the business world for, several years, 10, 15 plus years working professionally in medical devices and medical sales. Teaching is the hardest job I have ever had, bar none. And it's changed, especially post-COVID as a teacher. So, and you're not only their educator, but sometimes you're their social worker and their support and their nurse and their guidance counselor and their love. And so to be able to receive an award that came from families and students meant the world for me. It absolutely is just a phenomenal way to support teachers. And every teacher deserves this because they really do such a tremendous job working with students. And I was so blessed. I was so grateful, and it was one of the most memorable days of my life.
Well, you do have a very difficult job, and you're doing it so well, and the parents are noticing. So I hope you continue in that role.
I will. I love it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for being on the show today and enlightening our viewers about the role of a foster parent.
Yes.
For anyone watching our show today, if you're interested in being a foster or adoptive parent, you can call 1-888-KID-HERO, or you can visit us on our website, and the address is below. Thank you very much for watching.
Step into our store and discover a stunning array of dancewear. Introducing Dancingly Yours, your one-stop shop for all things dance and delight for ages 2 to 92. From tiny tutus to energetic tap shoes, our store is a treasure trove of dance essentials. At Dancingly Yours, we offer an extensive collection of dancewear and accessories that cater to all styles and levels. We carry top brands and the latest fashion trends. From ballet to hip-hop, lyrical to jazz, ballroom to liturgical, as well as gymnastics, you'll find the best selection right here at Dancingly Yours. But we're not just a store. We're a community that celebrates the joy of dance. Our expert team is passionate about dance, just like you. So we're here to assist you in finding the perfect fit. And the best part, Dancingly Yours offers competitive pricing in-store and online. Dancingly Yours, easy to get to, and worth the trip from anywhere, right on Route 10 in Plainville.
Follow us on Instagram at nutmeg.tv.